Good morning and a very happy new year to all my lovely students. And continuing with our chapter, that is Animal Kingdom. Today we are going to talk about today we will talk about our phylum, and that is Hemichordata, right? We will discuss today Hemichordata, and one phylum is left, that is Chordata. This phylum actually, it was considered as subphylum under Chordata only, but then now it is placed as a separate phylum under non chordates, right? So Hemichordata, so from porifera, that you need to understand here, from porifera to hemichordata, they all are our non-chordates. They all are our non-chordates, because sometimes even in your subjective examination there is a question which is asked, that is, what is the difference between non-chordates and chordates. So that few major differences you can mark from between the chordates and hemichordates. So this is hemichordata. It is now under our phylum non-chordata. Now animals which belongs to this phylum, they are usually worm like animals, and they are exclusively marine. That is their main habitat, that you have to take into consideration, that they are exclusively they are marine. And as well as they are also known as, because this is a phylum which is just before the chordata, so it is also known as, members are also known as precordates, as well as they are, that is also known as, this phylum is also known as half, members are also known as half chordates or precordates. Examples which we have, we will discuss, that is the Belanoglossus, which is known as your tongue worm, as well as Secoglossus. These two are most important examples in our phylum, that is Hemichordata, Belanoglossus and Secoglossus. They are burrowing animals, means they live in U-shaped burrow. That is their one of major main characteristic feature, that they are burrowing animals which belong to hemichordata. They are burrowing animals and they live in U-shaped burrow. Now body, if we talk about their structure, whole body, if you look at the diagram in your NCRT, whole body is divided into three main parts: proboscis, collar and trunk, right? And proboscis is a triangular shaped structure. This is known as proboscis. Then there is a square shaped in middle structure which is known as collar, and then at the end there is our trunk. This is a long trunk. They do not have any tail at the end. What is placed? This is known as anus. So what are the parts? Proboscis, then collar, this is collar, and this whole area is trunk. Now in there is a skin like flap like structure is observed in the outside the outer area in the trunk. And here there are different parts which you will observe in trunk. One is the branchial or genital area. Branchial area or genital area is because they are having gills, and then is the hepatic area, and the last portion of the body or trunk is known as abdominal. So trunk is, you can say that the trunk is very long and it is divided into three main areas. What are these three areas? Branchial, where gills are present. Then genital, this is also known as genital because genital sex organs, they are present in this area. Then hepatic area as well as abdominal area. So branchial or genital, hepatic or abdominal. Now every part has their own speciality. Proboscis, collar, they are having their special features. Proboscis, it includes mouth, which is placed ventrally. It includes mouth as well as one very important gland is present here, which is known as proboscis gland. Right, this gland play role in excretion. So if you are asked 1 mark question that what is the excretory organ in hemichordates, excretory organ in hemichordates, what will you answer, my bacho? You will answer that is proboscis gland. Right, if I ask you what is excretory organ in arthropoda, suppose if I ask you the excretory organ in arthropoda, what should be your quick answer? That will be Malpighian tubules, right? Pighi, Malpighian tubules. That will be your correct answer. And excretory organ in hemichordates, that is proboscis gland. इसको प्लीज मार्क करके लिख लेना बोल्ड लेटर्स में, दैट proboscis gland is helping in excretion. Now if we talk about the middle structure, which is the collar area, it has stomachord. Now यहाँ पे confusion आती है कि notochord जैसा structure, but actually stomachord का कोई relationship नहीं है. This is the scientist who gave it just a name stomachord. It is also known as little notochord, but please, this is your main point, that it is neither homologous and nor analogous to notochord. It is neither homologous or nor analogous to notochord. It is just an outgrowth of buccal cavity because it is present here. It is the outgrowth of buccal cavity. So that is the reason, because it is just like an outgrowth. So it is also known as diverticulum also, buccal diverticulum. That is the second name of this stomachord. Because it is just an outgrowth, it is also known as buccal diverticulum. And commonly, sometime in few books, you will find another word, that is little notochord. Now about the respiration, we just wrote here that they are having gills in this area. So the respiration is branchial respiration. So because respiration happens through gills, so it is called branchial respiration. Reproduction, animals are unisexual, they are dioecious, their sexes are separate, and development is indirect. Larva is known as Tornaria larva. Larval names are very, very important here. Tornaria larva of hemichordates. It is Tornaria. Significance. What is the significance of this phylum? They are connecting link. किसके साथ? Connecting link between echinodermata and chordata. They are connecting link between chordata and your echinodermata. Means last lecture I told you that echinodermata and chordates, they both are deuterosomes. What do you mean by deuterosomes? Those in which blastopore first develops into anus. Those are known as deuterosomes. Other all phylums are proterostomes. So it shows connecting link वो होता है कि जो it is a connecting link we are saying between echinodermata and chordata, and connecting link means it shows characteristics of both. It shows characteristics of echinodermata a little bit as well as chordata also. If we talk about their general features, they are bilaterally symmetrical, they are triploblastic, they are coelomates, as well as the level of organization is organ system level of organization, because this is just a phylum before chordates. So all the features are highly developed, bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, coelomates, as well as organ system level of organization. Circulation is open type. Open type doesn't mean that they do not have blood vessels. They have blood vessels, but blood is not throughout it is flowing in the blood vessels. It comes out in open spaces, and that open space is known as lacuna. The open spaces here are known as lacuna. And pulsating organ is also present, which pumps the blood into blood vessels, but because blood is coming out into a space, that is the reason their circulation is of open type. This was all about our phylum, that is Hemichordata. I will continue with the phylum Chordata today in this lecture, but only with the classification part. Now, one thing which you need to be clear, that phylum Chordata, it has few basic characteristics. Those animals which belong to phylum Chordata, they should have these basic characteristics once at least in their whole लाइफ स्पैन. मतलब उनके पूरे लाइफ स्पैन में एक बार तो कभी ना कभी ये बेसिक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक शुड बी देयर. like simple presence of dorsal solid notochord. Presence of dorsal solid notochord. Then another characteristics is presence of pharyngeal gill slits. Third, presence of tail. Fourth, presence of dorsal hollow central nervous system, which consists of brain and spinal cord. Right, so animals which belong to phylum Chordata, once in a lifespan they should have a dorsal solid notochord, pharyngeal gill slits, or presence of a tail, and presence of dorsal hollow central nervous system, which consists of brain, spinal cord. So these are the basic characteristic of any member of which belong to phylum Chordata. Now Chordata, when we talk about Chordata, it is the main phylum, right? 3 subphylum which are of your Chordata further divided into. So Chordata is further divided into 3 subphylum. What are those 3 subphylum? Urochordata, Cephalochordata, and Vertebrata. These are 3 subphylums of Chordata. Urochordata is where notochord is present in tail region of larva. It means now tail is present but in the larval stage, and in the tail area notochord will be present. But the moment larva is here, now undergoes retrogressive metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is lots of changes happens when larva changes into adult. तो जब लार्वा से एडल्ट बनता है तो एडल्ट्स डू नॉट हैव टेल, टेल चली गई. So when tail is not there, it means notochord will be not there. So adults in Urochordata, they do not have tail, and the example is Herdmania. Herdmania is the example of Urochordata. Now let's move to Cephalochordata. इसमें प्रॉब्लम नहीं है हमें. नोटोकॉर्ड रन्स फ्रॉम एंटीरियर टू पोस्टीरियर एंड. मेरे बच्चों को पता है एंटीरियर टू पोस्टीरियर एंड मतलब ऊपर से लेके नीचे तक चलिए पूरी नोटोकॉर्ड थ्रू आउट द बॉडी मिलेगी. इट रिमेन्स थ्रू आउट द लाइफ. यहाँ पे देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम रिगार्डिंग द लार्वल एंड एडल्ट स्टेज. देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम लाइक दैट. दैट is observed in Urochordata. Example of Cephalochordata is Amphioxus. Amphioxus. Now last subphylum is Vertebrata. Notochord here is, नाम से पता चलता है, from the name it is very clear, vertebral column. Notochord is replaced by vertebral column, right? So three subphylums which chordata has been divided into, that is Urochordata, Cephalochordata and Vertebrata. Urochordates plus cephalochordates, they are also known as protochordates, or they are also known as acraniata. Acraniata, A means absent, craniata means cranium, that is skull box, that is your brain box is absent, means urochordate do not have brain box, cephalochordates do not have brain box. Vertebral column, vertebrata, they are known as craniata, they are having brain box. So let's move on little bit further in the classification. First, we just talk about three subphylums. I think now you are clear with these three subphylum. Urochordata, Cephalochordata, Chordata. Please mark it Chordata, D-A-T-A. Cephalochordata and Vertebrata, right? And then now Vertebrata is further divided into two divisions. It has two divisions. And what are those two divisions? Anathostomata and Gnathostomata. Anathostomata and Gnathostomata. A means absent, mouth without jaw. These are two divisions. किसकी? Vertebrata की. Division is two. They are having two divisions, anathostomata and gnathostomata. Mouth without jaw and mouth with jaw. Now, anathostomata has only further divided into one very specific class, that is cyclostoma or cyclostomata. And example is petromyzone or also known as lamprey. But gnatho or gnathostomata is further divided into two superclasses. Two superclasses, and these two superclasses are Pisces and Tetrapoda. Pisces का मतलब fishes, fishes का मतलब aquatic, aquatic का मतलब gills. Locomotion will be by fins. So in Pisces, locomotion will be by fins. T for tetrapoda, T for tetrapoda, T for terrestrial. If they are terrestrial, the locomotion will be through by limbs, and respiratory organ will be limbs. So Urochordata, Cephalochordata, Vertebrata, these three are subphylum. Then division is Vertebrata is divided into two, anathostomata and gnathostomata. Two superclasses, Pisces and Tetrapoda, that is fins as well as they are having limbs. Now, Pisces is further divided into two main classes, Chondrichthyes and Pisces has been further divided into two main classes, Chondrichthyes and Osteichthyes. Chondrichthyes, which are having cartilaginous fishes, Osteichthyes, that is having bony fishes. And further, tetrapoda is further divided into four classes, amphibia, reptilia, aves and mammalia. So this is complete classification of our phylum Chordata. Three subphylum, Urochordata, Cephalochordata, Vertebrata. To division 2, Agnathostomata, Gnathostomata. Gnathostomata, two superclasses, Pisces and Tetrapoda. And finally, Chondrichthyes, Osteichthyes, and Amphibia, Reptilia, aves and mammalia. So this is all about our today's lecture, and I really wish that you all are able to understand this classification at least, and in the next we will continue with the classes of phylum Chordata.